If you really want it, you can achieve anything. How many times have we heard this phrase? From motivational gurus, athletes, even billionaire celebrities. It's the mantra of modern society. The power is in our hands. But is really so? Is it truly realistic to think that anyone with enough effort and determination can achieve whatever they desire? Or is there much more behind it? Things we rarely hear about: starting conditions, opportunities, luck, and even chance. Today, I will take you on a journey that digs beneath the surface of these motivational slogans, not to crush dreams, but to reveal their complexity. Because the truth is not that everything is possible, but that something meaningful is always possible, if we understand the real mechanism at play. We live in societies that, at least on paper, guarantee freedom and equal opportunities. We can choose, decide, and design our lives. But do we really start from the same point? Obviously not. Someone born into a wealthy family has more resources, more connections, and the ability to take risks without fearing failure. Others instead must fight from the very beginning against economic, cultural, and social barriers. Take Jeff Bezos, for example. He built Amazon starting in a garage, but he had already attended Princeton, had initial capital, and a valuable network. On the other end, there are millions of people with brilliant ideas, but without access to the same tools. This doesn't mean success is impossible for those who start disadvantaged. It means the path will be harder, will require more time, more resilience, and often more creativity. As Nietzsche wrote, he who has a why to live can be almost anyhow. And the same is true today. We cannot control the context, but we can choose the meaning we give to our story. And that meaning itself can become our strength. When we look at the examples of success, we only see the winners. We don't see the vast number of people who follow the same path and failed. This phenomenon has a name: survivorship bias. Think about Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. For every Mark Zuckerberg who made it, there are thousands of founders who tried, invested everything, and eventually shut down their companies. But we hear nothing about them. No books, no conferences, no inspirational quotes. A historical example makes this even clearer. During World War II, aviation strategists studied returning planes riddled with bullet holes to decide where to reinforce them. Statisticians Abraham Wald objected, "Don't look at the planes that come back. Look at the ones that fell." The spots without bullet holes on the returning planes were precisely the areas that, when hit, had doomed the others. Success works the same way. We focus only on those who came back home victorious, ignoring those who crashed along the way. And here lies the mistake. If 10 people followed the same path and succeeded, it's remarkable, yes, but not enough to prove that's the right recipe. We only know that 10 who made it, not the millions who tried and failed. Imagine, out of 1,000,000 attempts, 10 successes. Can we really say that method works? Do we honestly want to call it a method? Or is it more accurate to admit it's mostly randomness? The problem is that the data we have is always partial. We study the winners, we celebrate them, we mythologize them. Failures remain invisible, forgotten, excluded from analysis. And so we end up building theories on exceptions, not on the rule. There's another element that's often ignored but weighs like a stone in every success story: luck. We don't like talking about it because it takes away merit from those who succeeded. But it's undeniable. Being in the right place at the right time can be worth more than 1,000 hours of work. Bill Gates, for instance, often recalled that one reason Microsoft was born was because his school, in an era where computers were incredibly rare, actually had one. An extraordinary coincidence which gave a curious teenager the chance to practice years before anyone else. As Seneca reminded us, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And it's true, we must be ready when the opportunity comes. But it's equally true that the opportunity may never come. And that doesn't depend only on us. That's why reducing everything to "if you want it, you can do it" it's misleading. Success always comes from a mix of effort, favorable conditions, and luck. Three ingredients that never weight the same for everyone. So if luck and conditions play such a huge role, should we just give up? Absolutely not. The key is to distinguish between what we can control and what we can all influence. We can control our habits, our discipline, our effort. We can influence certain variables, building relationships, learning new skills, creating opportunities. But there are things beyond our control: wars, economic crises, natural disasters. A simple example: going to the gym. You can't control whether the gym will always stay open, but you can control whether you show up 3 times a week. And you can influence your progress by improving your diet or asking a trainer for help. And here we reach a crucial point: consistency. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a week, but underestimate what they can build in years. It's like compound interest in finance. At first, progress looks invisible, but over time it becomes enormous. By cultivating discipline and consistency, we learn to enjoy the fruits of steady, continuous effort. That's the key. It's not about intensity, but persistence. If you go to the gym for 12 hours once a month, you gain nothing. If you go half an hour every other day for 3 years, the change is radical. Daniel Kahneman explained that our brain craves immediate gratification, but struggles to evaluate long-term benefits. That's why we give up before we harvest the fruits. Discipline is what allows us to keep going even when luck is not on our side. Take James Dyson, the inventor of the bugless vacuum cleaner. It took him more than 5,000 prototypes before reaching the one that worked. 5,000 attempts. Many would have quit after 50 or 500, but Dyson turned perseverance into innovation. Discipline enables us to overcome barriers, to stay in the game when others give up. It's the foundation on which resilience is built. And as Seneca also said, there is nothing that persistent and diligent effort cannot overcome. But be careful. Discipline doesn't mean sacrificing yourself until you collapse. We live in an age that glorifies hustle culture, the culture of non-stop work, sleeping 4 hours a night, working 18 hours a day, sacrificing everything for a goal. But in the long run, this is unsustainable. Psychology shows us that exhaustion and burnout not only reduce the quality of our work, but pushes us farther away from our goals. It's like trying to run a marathon at sprint pace. You might cover a few miles faster, but you will never reach the finishing line. The real secret is balance. Not desperate speed, but steady rhythm. The pace you can sustain over time, the one that allows you to grow without breaking. Nature teaches us this. Trees don't grow all at once, but a little every day. Mountains don't form in an instant, but over millennia. Our lives follow the same logic. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, attributes his success to patience and the ability to let investments mature over time. Not to sudden strokes of luck, but to disciplined consistency applied over decades. And here lies the great lesson. True strength is not just starting with enthusiasm, but staying the course, building a balance that lasts. So, what's the truth? No, we cannot achieve everything we want. No, there is no magic formula for success. But yes, we can create favorable conditions, develop discipline, influence variables, cultivate consistency, and increase our chances. The rest depends on chance. And maybe this is the most human part. Success is never guaranteed, but every step we take with discipline and awareness brings us closer to a fuller, more meaningful life. So I leave you with one question. Would you rather chase the illusion of everything or build that something that truly matters in your life? If this left you with more questions than answers, you are in the right place. Subscribe and keep exploring with us.